One more time.
Believe it.
I'm so scared.
I believe is I believe it's going to work this time.
I think it's working. No echo.
Okay. So let's do this. So you just saw that someone said she really wants to hear your story. And like we said, stories are meant to inspire people. So let's do this. And hopefully it's going to turn out
So there's no
amazing
echo. There's no echo. So those who are live can
on my end.
confirm in the comments. But it's the first time I am hearing myself clearly. Oh my goodness! You probably would have to delete those other ones because they're really bad.
Yeah, I will. I will. I will.
Okay. So where shall we begin? From the top. No echo. Yes. Omalade. Yes.
Thank you.
It's okay. Hi, love. Is that love? Hello, beautiful. I see. I can
Yes.
make
Hi,
good
love. Oh,
success with
thank you,
love.
love.
Thank you for stopping over. Okay, where shall we begin? Let's do this. My God. Now I
Your
feel like I
story.
can talk.
We
Okay,
go from your
straight up.
story again.
All right, so I think I'll just probably go into the story first. Pretty much, I had a great childhood growing up with my family. I was born in the north, I was born in Zaria. While my dad was doing his youth service, and before I was one, he moved to Delta State. By the time I was 11, he was transferred to work overseas, precisely in Brunei Darussalam in Southeast Asia. So I grew up there. However, puberty hit me really
Yeah.
fast and I sort of doubled up in my size. Like I was a pretty skinny girl. Though. At some point, my mom even says they used to beat me up to eat as a child because I didn't eat. I didn't like food. Well, look at me now. Anyway, I puberty hit me so fast and so hard. I doubled up and I really struggled with a lot of low self-esteem because I didn't like people calling me fat. But that was the thing growing up. We came back to Nigeria in 1993 and everything was good. I got into the university 1996, 95, 96 session was my session. Ambrosali University, Ekpoma. I always wanted to be a doctor. So um, I started with a pre-degree program, and by the time it was 200 level, we discovered the med school was not accredited yet. And so I had to go to another school. And so University of Ibadan was the option we wanted to explore. And the very year I got to UI was the very year that we realized they were no longer taking students who didn't do JAM. And I had pre-degree.
Mhm.
So I stayed for about 9 months, but it was a very critical period, a season in my life because this was where I believe I really started meeting God for myself. Now I was by myself. It was no longer the God that my mom told me about. It was now, knowing God for myself. And I was worshiping then at Living Faith Church, Winners Chapel, and my love for books started that same period as well because the bishop would always talk about the book of the month. And so I started reading, I started buying books. I got to meet Dr. Miles Monroe in 1998 when he visited uh, at the Lagos church. I remember going all the way from Ibadan to Lagos. And it was just quite an experience
Mm.
learning and hearing about potential and purpose. And I just was fascinated with all that could be. And I believe that season is very uh, critical in my journey because I feel it was preparation season. Because a few years later,
Yeah.
I mean, I had to go back to the university that I left. My school mates that I got in with were graduating, and that was pretty devastating. So add the you're fat to now having a setback at school, and I was a pretty smart kid. So it was just too much. And so when I met someone and it just felt like, I see you, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, I was like, this is it. I got to make up for the lost times. I got to do this. And even when my parents had their reservation, I still chose to, walk away from everything. And so on November 10th, 2000, the millennium year,
Millennium.
I
And you fell in love.
I fell in love and I eloped. I ran away from home and it changed everything. By the time I was 31,
Hopeless romantic.
tell me about it. By the time I was 31, I was already divorced, a single mom, and I had gone through domestic abuse. I mean, I don't want to use the word victim, but I had had that experience, and it was pretty devastating because I had lost my family in the process, and so when I came out, there was that whole journey of reuniting with my family, but there were so many things I couldn't get back. My only brother, had gotten married in the middle of all of that. I wasn't invited. My sister
You
after
weren't
me
there.
I wasn't there. My sister after me got married. I wasn't there. They had their children, like the first two, I believe. I wasn't there. I had mine. They didn't come. So a lot of things happened that I really couldn't get back. But then, thank God for God and just restoring. When I say it now and I look at where we are today as a family, you would not really know if you didn't know my story. You would not know that there was a 9, 10 year window where the family was just in a situation. But
Yeah.
when I came out, I mean, I was faced with the choice of being angry, staying bitter, depressed, and just feeling like, my God, look at your life, that kind of thing, or really just laying it all, I would say at God's feet. Because at this point, I had grown my faith to a level where I pretty much understood that God could take a mess and turn it to a message. I pretty much knew that
Yes.
my life wasn't over yet, and I did start, the first time we had the recording by saying, what I would love everyone to know, watching live or on the replay, is that your story is a gift. The good, the
Mm.
bad, and the ugly, especially the ugly stories, the painful, the painful stories, the ones you really don't want to talk about. Because I look at my life today, and this same story that I just shared, I mean, has taken me around the world. I'm a two-time TEDx speaker. I have spoken on stages across 4 continents. It's unbelievable when I think about it. Be-
Unbelievable
Honestly, yes, God can take a mess and turn it to a message, Omalade. So true.
message.
And
Mm.
this is me right here. I'm a living proof of
Yes.
that. Living proof. Living like flesh and blood. But anyway, I chose to forgive. I chose to give myself the gift of forgiveness, and I say this a
Yes.
lot. Forgiveness is not about the other person; it's about you. It's the greatest
Mm.
gift you can give to yourself. And I've had
Mm-hmm.
conversations with women and people that I've had the privilege of coaching, and it's something a lot of people struggle with. But I always try to get them to
Mm.
that place of realizing, look, you may not be able to undo what has happened to you. You may not even see your abuser or the person who has violated you. I've met people who were, raped, and where do you even begin from to look for, and by unknown masked culprits.
Yeah.
So where do you
Where,
even begin from in
where do you begin to
identifying?
find closure?
Yeah,
From how do you process it?
do,
Who do you begin to talk
do you
to?
see?
How do you even find closure?
So giving yourself that gift of forgiveness is choosing to release all parties involved, including yourself. Because sometimes we don't pay
Mm.
attention to the fact that we're mad at ourselves, we're angry at ourselves, we feel ashamed, we feel regret. We tell ourselves, like, you should have known better. Like, what were you even thinking? How low can you go? Those things we say to ourselves. And so
Mm.
forgiving yourself and others,
You beat
yeah,
yourself up.
totally. uh
Why would I have done this? What was I
I tell
thinking?
you,
You know,
couldn't you have
you
done
know.
better? Like, really? And I gave myself that gift. And 4 years, I was a single mom for 4 years. And then in 2013, I got married again. And by
Mm.
2015, I had my third child. And this was after a 12-year break. And it was during that 12-year break, I discovered the platform of Periscope, where I started showing up live, started my live show. I just had things going on. It would be within that first year that I actually went public for the first time with my story. And it was a regular day. I just put it out there. I wasn't expecting anything, but everywhere literally blew up. I organically,
Can I say something at this point?
yes.
Can I say something at this point now? Do you know that what attracts people to us is our truth?
Mm,
Look at artists, musicians, artists, performers, motivational speakers,
mm,
coaches, thought influencers.
mm,
If you notice, the ones that attract the most attention, or no, no, attention is not the word, the ones that people gravitate towards
mm,
the most, or or give into the most, are people who bear
mm.
their truth, who create from a
Yeah,
place of truth, a place of
yeah.
vulnerability, a place of, you see, this is me, this is my
Mm,
story. And I believe that it resonates with somebody, or it can help somebody.
mm,
If you're telling your story from a place of, I want to be honest about this.
mm,
This is what I've dealt with.
mm.
And this is me. And I want to be able to use this me to be able,
Right.
always attracted to that.
Mm,
I've noticed it. So it just came to me when you said um, you just went on Periscope and you just told your story. You were putting your vulnerability out there, which is one of the things we said in the first life that went
right.
off. A lot of people feel that their stories are supposed to be, people shouldn't know, sweep it under the carpet. Let's just focus on the good parts. Let's just focus on, the packaging. Let's just focus on this me. But you see, nobody's looking for this you, because everyone is dealing with something, and people are looking to connect with somebody who has gone through what they've gone through, who can say,
Absolutely.
okay, I was here but I'm here now.
Mm,
So okay, and then I'm like, okay, Naomi, this is what I'm dealing with now. I think I need to hear your story to see how it can help me navigate what I'm dealing with, because our stories are our greatest message. It helps us to light other people's paths. So for me, I can relate to the fact that you went on Periscope and all of a sudden it was another thing entirely. Because I remember the time when you started the
you were there
podcast, it wasn't even so popular then for
at
us,
all.
maybe
At all.
for younger people.
At all. There was no Facebook Live.
The Sparkle
There was
Queen.
no Facebook Live. There was no Instagram Live, YouTube Live. None of that was existing. I mean, today.
I remember the only person I knew who used to do the Periscope thing was Mike Murdoch. I remember then. And then I now heard it from
Yeah, he was there. He was there. It was such a powerful platform. It's no longer existing. I mean, Twitter owned it, and now there's Twitter Live, so people can literally just go live on Twitter.
yeah,
But
Twitter Spaces.
mm, but I mean, it's just
Yeah,
been a
so
phenomenal journey so far. Showing up, telling that story, and then people coming, for me to say, look, I have a story as well. And then we started the Women with Stories, where we help women. We what we say is we empower women to find and own their unique stories. So there is ownership. You have to be willing to own your stories, right? And
yeah.
find
Hmm.
the cure, because we truly believe that whatever you've gone through, that you survived, that didn't kill you, gave you a cure. But we all have a
Yeah.
responsibility to identify that cure. That's on you. You have to do that work to identify the cure that you have, and how you can take that cure and you can serve the world with it. Storytelling is powerful. It is as old as time. Once upon a time never gets old. We all grew up with, story,
Mm.
story, story. I mean, there's stories that we heard as children, and we we have never forgotten because they were told to us as folk tales and, tales by moonlight. I mean, it was just so powerful. So, I mean, people who,
And you know the crazy thing
yeah.
is the stories we're telling now is what the next generation and the generation to come are
Mm,
going to tell as stories.
mm.
We are now the storytellers.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are. And I really wish people would realize how powerful their stories are, even in business. I mean, at the Center Stage Company, I teach that as a strategy. If you understood how powerful your
Mm.
stories are, you would worry less about competition because regardless of what business you're in, what industry, what niche, you need to understand that your story will always give you a competitive advantage. It is a unique advantage that you have. But a lot of business owners are not even tapping into it. Instead, they're so focused with what everybody else is doing that they're losing sight on what they have and what makes them unique in the marketplace.
So I'm going to ask this now, Naomi. How can I turn my story to profit? I'm sure
Okay.
this is one thing that anybody who stumbles on this life will want to know. How can I turn my story to profit?
Okay, so I would say this. There is a five-part framework that I teach, and it starts first with your mindset. So the first, okay, so
Let me
it's
get my
it's
back.
5M, and I'm going to jot down a few things as well. So it's 5M. I call it the 5M
Mm.
framework.
Oh, I'm in school now.
I call it the
Mhm.
5M framework, right? And the first M is
Mm,
master your mind because it starts with your
mm,
mind. Mindset is everything. I as far as your eyes can see. If you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're right. And so there are people who just start by just putting themselves down. They just feel like, you know what, this storytelling thing is for people like Joy, it's for people like Love, it's for people like Naomi, it's for people like Oprah.
mm.
I don't have anything.
Exactly.
That feeling of I don't have anything, there's
Exactly.
no story here. Your mindset. So that's where we're starting from. You have to believe that you have something really powerful that the world needs. This mindset of thinking, there are special people, these are the ones. And it's not for people like us. You have to kill that mentality. Kill it fast because
Mm,
it is destroying you and it is putting you at a place where you should not be. You have to understand that your mind is powerful and you have to be able to think
mm,
great thoughts. You have to be able to think good thoughts. It's as far as your eyes can see. This is what nobody can do for you. We can encourage you, we can inspire
mm,
you, we can motivate you. But if at the end of the day or while we're still speaking, you're telling yourself, this is it. They've started. Perspire to inspire. What's that thing they say? All of those motivation stuff. you know, and you're telling yourself, look at them, they've started. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. That's all on you. So it starts with your mindset. You
mm,
have to be able to get to that place of realizing that your story is a gift. You have something powerful. You have a cure. Now, that you've not discovered it does not mean that it is not there. I'll say that again. That you have not discovered
mm.
it does not mean that it's not there. Take for
Doesn't mean
instance,
that it's not there.
oil.
Exactly.
Like there are lots of places where there's oil, but there's a drilling process. There is a whole process to,
Mm,
getting the machines down and getting the oil out. And even when the oil comes out, there's still the refining process for it to then become something, yeah, to aspire. That's it. Thank you,
mm,
Bolade. That's not what we're talking about
mm,
here, right? So with the oil drilling, you still have to drill. You have to get to the ground, and that's on you. You have to do that work, but it starts with your mindset. Now, the second M is master your big idea. You want to turn your stories to profit? You need to find out why are you here?
master
What
your
is your
big idea.
purpose? What is your purpose? Why are you here? You're not just part of the census.
Purpose, purpose. That's
Yes,
my down my
yes.
alley.
You're not just a part of the census. You're not just part of the
You have a
numbers.
why.
There is an assignment for your life, and you have to identify what that
Mm,
is. And the truth is, we
mm-hmm.
are a sum total of our experiences. Everything that you have gone through has brought you to where you are today. And
That's good.
and
Mm-hmm.
I think why a lot of people struggle is a lot of people are not willing to do the work. I think with the whole microwave generation, where we just want everything sharp, sharp, quick, quick, give me this, quick, quick. People are
Mm,
not willing to
yeah.
really sit down and do the work, because it will take a lot of digging in, a lot of assessment, a lot of opening up a journal and really identifying your stories and patterns and why you act the way you do. One of my coaches will say it's getting a PhD in you, understanding you, and you know what
Knowing
it
you.
takes to actually even get a degree, get a master's, and then a PhD. And so she says you have to get to that place where you have a PhD in you, where you understand exactly why you're here, what's your assignment, because these are the
Mm,
things that begins to shape you on your journey. Okay, so master your mind, master your big idea. The next thing is to master your message. Now, what you've gone through, hmm, it gave you a cure. What is that
mm.
cure? What is your message? So
There's purpose in
my
your pain.
yes,
So what is it?
my message
What
is
is your message?
helping people get from the backstage to the center stage. I'm a little obsessed with people who are phenomenal not being seen and not being heard. I would say that no matter what you know, no matter what you can do, if you're not being seen and heard, it is as good as you not existing in the first place. And so I'm a little obsessed with people who
Exactly.
are like, just leave me here. I'm okay here. And I'm like, "But
I like to be behind the camera.
yeah."
I used to
I
say
mean,
that before.
sometimes, oh, look at you now. Look at you now, just glowing and shining and doing great stuff. I mean, posterity will speak for you. I was looking through your channel. I was like, look at you. I knew when you started, look at the videos. I'm like, to over
Yeah.
3,000 followers. Look at that. It's phenomenal. You're putting yourself out there. You're doing the work. It might not be the easiest of things to do, but you're doing it. You're adding value.
Grit.
You're adding value.
Yeah.
You're making a difference in our world. And so this
Mm,
is it, because
hmm.
every time you turn off your light, and this is for people who are just, like, look, I'm good. I'm just gonna follow and listen to everybody else. I'm gonna tune into opera. I'm gonna listen to Tony Robbins. I'll listen to Joy, 100% Joy. Of course, she's 100%. There's
Mm.
no percentage left for me. You better stop deceiving
Yeah.
yourself. You better stop deceiving yourself. We need you to turn your light on as well. I say that, like, a lot of people don't realize that when they don't turn on their lights, then they are robbers. They're stealing from the rest of us, because we're all supposed to turn on our lights. I do my part with what the gifts that I have. You do your part, and this world is a better place. The reason why the world is,
Naomi,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I'm cutting
No,
it.
no, 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 no. Go,
Naomi,
go, go.
my first book, School in a Session, I have a chapter called Same Light, Different.
Hmm.
We all have light that we must shine on ourselves. Just that our sorry, same lamp, different
Hmm.
lights. We all have the light we're meant to shine. So we have this lamp, we
Hmm.
must light it and shine the light on each of us, but our lights are
Hmm.
different. So yours might be that you need to help. Somebody else might need to inspire. Another person might need to feed. And
Hmm.
so we all have work to do.
Hmm.
And like you said, you're not doing the
Hmm.
what the person is supposed to
Absolutely.
gain from our destiny is tied to the destiny in fact, finding our purpose and living it is tied to other people finding theirs
Mm.
and living it. And as long as we don't, we keep those people from finding theirs because they need to walk the path
Right.
that we are walking. We need to find ourselves for them to find themselves. So we're all connected, and it's crazy. That revelation is so crazy because you wake up every morning and you're scared of
Hmm.
not doing something to make a difference for someone or something about the work that has been put in your hand. because
I don't even know what that life is like.
that reason to
Mm.
get to know.
I just,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's why you don't want to get out of bed in the morning. I've been there, want the t-shirt when you just go like, you know what, you're all motivated. You don't want to get up. You're always depressed. You're always going through all the, But you see, at that point, you feel like there's no, you
Mm.
stand still here, But
Mm.
that's the point where you start questioning the fact that if I feel like there's no need to get out of bed, but I'm still waking up every morning, then there must be a reason why God is still waking me up every morning.
Right.
If not population or to
Census.
take space, to depopulate or bring, new people to take my place. But for him to be waking me up every morning means that my work is not finished. There's still something that I'm meant to do.
Absolutely.
And I can guarantee you that the purpose is always hidden in the
Mm.
pain, which is the
Mm.
story. Because it's from the pain that you
Mm.
find your purpose. That's if you have that perspective. I said it, heroes and villains. I was thinking about it a few weeks ago. And heroes and
Mm-hmm.
villains have the same backstory. Um, they were bullied in
Mm-hmm.
school, something. But what you become out of your story is entirely up to you, which is what you said.
100%.
You can have a platform to push after your story, but what do you want to use your story for? Okay, so I went through pain. Do you want to give pain
Mm.
to more people in the world? Or do you want to make sure nobody goes through pain again?
That's
That's
the
the difference.
difference.
That's what makes you either a hero
That's the
or a villain.
difference.
So for
Wow.
me, that was the revelation that made me know that I needed to. And just like you said, my cure is helping people find their why you're here. Live purpose driven lives, live purpose filled lives, live impactful lives. And that's about it because that's what I found. Yes, because I kept asking, there has to be something more with everything that I've had to do. Then and everything makes sense. I have a story very close to yours, very, very, very close to yours. But you see, with this, I wouldn't be able to be adding this value to this person or that person,
Right.
mentoring this person or coaching this person,
Mm.
or even, right, oh, your book touched me. Oh,
Mm.
but it's so important. You see, this is your gift. Turning this story to profit is your gift.
Mm.
And, and that is why we need to learn that from you today, being able to turn our stories to profit. So I'm saying master your mind, master your big idea. That's your purpose. Find it.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there was, yes. So there was master your mind, master your big idea, master your message. So in mastering your message, it's three parts. Yeah.
Master your message.
So this is where you are now doing the work. This is where you are, digging out all of those stories. So under master your message, there's something I teach called the three P's. You first need to identify who's your person, because with all that you've experienced and the things that you have survived, there's someone out there, and you can see this very practically, that people who, for instance, have been raped, when they find their cure, they are at the most powerful place to speak to other people who've had that same experience.
Mm,
And so you have to do the work of identifying, who am I here for, who am I sent to. The second thing is, what are their pain points? What are the pain points of my people? What are my people losing
mm,
sleep over? And then the third P is,
mm,
what do I have? That's the cure that they need. So identify your person, identify their pain points, and then identify the pleasure that you have to offer to the world. This is how you master your message. And when you're showing up for these people. And I'll give a practical example. Since I started sharing my story, to be honest, I have never, ever, anywhere seen any negative thing said about me or said to me. And it's not like it would have made a difference. But I guess
Mm.
my focus has just been on my people, because what you feed, your focus expands. A lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
afraid to show up, talk about their experiences, even if they know that they have treasures. They have knowledge, they have wisdom that they can pass down to other people, to other generations, so that the mistakes they made are not repeated. They know that they have that. But some people are so focused on, what will people say? People are going to judge me. People are going to look at me differently. People are going to say this. People are going to say that. And this is what I often say: look, find your people and speak to your people. Every time I open up my mouth to speak, my focus is on that woman who has gone through, might not necessarily be the same, but at some point, perhaps like me, she was written off.
Same thing,
Yeah,
but
because
that's
because
your
I've
your
gone through all
tribe.
the stages. I was called fat. I struggled with low self-esteem. I'm I went through divorce, single mom, domestic abuse, academic setback. I mean, I could list it, right? But at the end of the day, that's who I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to that woman who's looking at her life and saying, I made so
Mm-hmm.
many mistakes. How can I pick myself back up? I'm speaking to that single mom who is thinking, what's going to become of me? Am I ever going to be happy? What's going to become of my children? I'm speaking to that young
Mm.
girl who is about to make a
Mm.
decision, and she's not even thinking about the consequences ahead. And just by listening to my story, she
Mm.
just may decide to go get cancel. And from that cancel, make a decision that will save her time, or even save her life. I'm alive. That's why I'm here, and I'm able to speak. Not everyone even comes out of the mistakes they go into alive. We see and hear
Mm.
cases of people who are dying in domestic abusive relationships. I mean, so
Relationships, yeah.
many so many have made the headlines in recent time, and at the end of the day, they're gone. They're gone. They're not here to tell any story. They're not here to give us any gift. And so when I
Mm.
show up for my people. I show up for them. And that is
Mm.
where my focus is. So it's important that you identify who your people are and let that be your focus. I have
Mm.
gained so much in doing the work that I do, but I often say that the greatest gift I believe God has given me over the years is the priceless gift of knowing that I'm making a difference in the life of someone. I get those
Mhm.
messages and it just really makes me feel good. I go to bed every night really feeling,
Mm.
feeling great
Yeah,
with myself. Like, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not one of those people.
that's the
Yeah,
fulfillment
I'm not one of those
right there.
people who maybe is at a threatening, situation, and I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Mm-mm. I want to live long. I want to live well because there's work to be done. That's my understanding. But if I have to go and it's my time, then I'm going. And I know that by the time I stand before my maker, there is no argument
You
about
look
send
back
me
and
back.
you know that you
Yeah,
made,
send me
yes,
back. Let me go and finish the work. Send me back. Let me go and finish the work if I'm not yet done. But if I'm done, please open the door. Let me enter. Let me come and rest. Master your message. All right. So the fourth one is
Mhm.
master your tool, because at the end of the day,
Okay.
you do need a tool for you to turn your stories to profits. Once you've fixed your mindset, you're clear on why you're here, you've identified what your message is about, who it is for, the pain points of your people, and the pleasure that you have to offer, which is your cure. The next thing is your tool. What tool are you going to use to get your word across the globe? And thank God for social media. Thank God for digital media platforms.
Yeah.
You are spoiled for
Social
choice.
media has made it so easy.
You are
Hmm.
spoiled for
Find
choice.
your own
You
platform.
are spoiled for choice. There is no excuse anymore for you to not show up between Instagram, Facebook, blogging, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Name it, TikTok. You are spoiled for choice. And this is not to say you need to be everywhere, but based on the work you would have done in identifying who your people are, then you want to find out where are they hanging out. And you can be across multiple platforms if you can manage it. But what is important
Then
is
you find the primary one.
you find it and you show up. And so that is the part about mastering your tool. And of course, one of the most profound tools that I've tested, that is proven, that has opened the world stages for me, is the tool of live streaming. So powerful because it allows people to connect with you in real time. There is no fake it till
Mm,
you make it here. It is as you are. And so I would say show up authentically, show up in your most authentic self because people are going to
mm,
see right through if you try to fake it. So be who you are. It's one of the fastest ways for you to establish thought leadership and to build credibility. People will do business with you when they know
mm.
you, like you, and trust you. And so, one of the tools I strongly
Yeah.
recommend is live streaming. But there's so many others, from blogging to building a mailing list, setting up membership. There are lots of tools that you can use, but what's important is find a way to connect with your people. And the final M is master your impact. And this is where you are looking at your legacy. This is where we can talk about, do you want to write books? Do you want to host masterminds around the world? Do you want to create a documentary, a movie about your life? So this is legacy work now. What impact? Do you want to set up a nonprofit? What are you doing in the world that at the end of your life we will know that you were here? It's a very important question you want to ask yourself.
Mm.
What am I doing that
Very important.
when I am gone, they will know that I am here? And it's someone might be listening and saying,
Mm,
"Oh, this is a lot to take in." This is not a 1 day journey. This is a journey that
mm,
you will have
mm.
to begin, and even if you're already on it,
It's a journey to becoming.
absolutely.
Becoming.
Absolutely. That's the word. Because even though you are already on the journey, clarity comes even as you grow. As you are becoming, you are getting more clarity on what it is you need to do. So typical example, when I started live streaming 8 years ago, almost a decade, I was just doing it for me. And then people wanted me to teach. And then I was just about teaching go live. And then people started complaining about, but I don't know what to do. I'm running out of what to say.
I know
And
what
then
to
I
say.
started, teaching about creating content. And that evolved into storytelling. And then from serving online entrepreneurs, I came offline to start serving corporations and institutions. Right now, we're at the level where we're taking the same the same framework and we're taking it to serving nations and governments. And this is just been a season of less than a decade. But growth has come because with each season I open up my spirit to receive more of what I can do, because there is an assignment upon my life and upon your life, and you must be willing to be that vessel that can be used, a vessel unto honor, a vessel that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you wake up every day and you're saying, what's going on in the world? And you have to think globally, because this is not even about just your small corner. You have to understand that the
Mm.
solutions you will get from doing this work, identifying your people, it's not just for people in Lagos. It's not just for people in Abuja. It's not just for people in Nigeria,
Global.
Kenya, or Rwanda. It's global. When I started live streaming, I had a quote: why be local when you can be global? Because I realized that
Remember.
with the touch of your button, you can connect with the world. And post pandemic has even made that, like, I don't even need to preach that sermon.
It's so simple.
it is what it is. I remember during the
I mean,
pandemic,
we now hold
one of
conferences virtually. We
one of
have virtual conferences. You can decide
yeah,
to bring everybody online. You
what
know,
one of my
most of
mentors
my
during the
workshops
pandemic,
I host online.
yeah,
You know,
one of my mentors during the pandemic was like, we live here, like we're online, we live here, this is where we are now, like we are living online.
yeah,
So there is no
everything is online.
excuse to why you can't show up and why you can't do great stuff. And I want to leave you guys with
Mm.
this. It's an acronym, because I promised I was going to share this in the class. And there are six gifts that you have right now, right now. And the acronym is WRIGHT. And it's actually a word, right.
W I
W
R
R I G H T, right.
right.
And when I got this acronym, I always give credit to God because this wasn't me. I'm not that smart. This was divine. I was having a moment where I was wanting to teach. I keep saying your story is a gift. And I was trying to identify the gifts that people could see that they had. And I already had, I think, just two on this list, which was the gift of hope and the gift of inspiration. Because those were like two major things I
Mm.
get to hear a lot.
Hope and inspiration.
Right. And so one of those days I was preparing for a session and then I just was like writing and just in that place of communion with God as to what other gift is out there. And I was like, okay, rest, time, and gratitude. And before you know, I realized I had formed a word. But you see, up until that day, the only meaning, or rather, the only knowledge I had of Wright was the Wright brothers, the guys who came up with the amazing technology that allows us to fly and
Now me,
travel
now
around
me,
the world.
now me go back again. No, no, go back again.
No, I'll go back. No, I will share the acronyms one by one.
Yeah.
No, I'll get to
Oh,
it.
okay,
I'm getting there. I'm getting
okay.
there. Yeah. So up until that day, I had only heard about the Wright brothers. So I was fascinated, and I'm a word nerd. I like to research words. So I went to the
Mm,
dictionary and I put the word right, and I discovered it actually has a meaning, and it means one who builds. I was blown away. I was like, how is that even possible? So, being right, I am telling you today that you are a builder. You have the
mm,
capacity and the ability to build and to transform our world with the gift of your story. And so, the
mm,
acronym RIGHT are six gifts that you have right now. Right now, the first is the gift of wisdom. Every
mm,
time you share your story, you give us the gift of wisdom. That's the
mm,
first gift. R is the gift of rest. People are losing sleep over the things that you know. There are people that will cry themselves to bed tonight, wondering if there's a way out, wondering if they will ever get out of this thing they're dealing with. Yet you have come out of it. You have survived it, but you're not willing to tell us. That's why I said, if you are not showing up, if you're not talking about the cure that you have, you are a robber. And you might think that is harsh, but you're stealing from the rest of us. It's not fair that people are going to bed tonight crying their eyes out for the solutions that you carry. And you're really comfortable sleeping. You're comfortable waking up every day,
mm.
applying makeup, carrying your designer handbag, and going about, your vacations,
Scary now.
going about.
Talking about it this
It
way
is
now is
scary.
scary.
It is scary.
Talking about it now
Yeah,
is
it
really
is
scary.
scary. Carrying around your designer bag,
It's scary.
going on your vacations.
We have to put in
There's
more
a
work.
book.
We have to put in
There's
more
a
work.
book I'm reading right now on. It's called.
Having a time of your life when somebody
I'm
needs an
telling
answer,
you,
you have.
there's a book I'm reading right now on divine. It's called Divine Intelligence, and it really teaches you how to tap into the heart of God to be a solution provider. Like it's next level. It's next level. And one of the chapters,
Mm.
the author was speaking about not just feeling a need, right? Not just seeing a need, but feeling a need. We need to become people who not don't just see needs, but we feel it. You cannot be in a community and see homeless people and just remove your
Mm.
face and say, that's not my problem. That's the government's problem. Are you serious? Are you serious? Or you see the lack of you
I'm
see
telling you.
how indecency and the lack of modesty is. I mean, people are practically walking naked now, and it's not bothering you. You're just okay. You don't feel like you have anything to say.
To do or
Right.
say, you're right.
So that's it.
Absolutely.
So we have to go
Absolutely.
beyond ourselves. We have to get to that place where we actually, feel the needs of others so we can give them the gift of rest. The next is the gift of inspiration. Every time you share your story, you inspire others. You make them know that they're not alone. They're
Mm.
not alone. And this too shall pass. And that brings us to the next acronym G, and that is the gift of gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful. I mean, sometimes you think like, oh, I've seen it all. I mean, there's no kids like mine,
So
and
powerful.
then you hear somebody else's story, and you're like, Lord, I'm grateful. Like, Lord, I'm grateful. You have no idea. Just
That's why I try to do the gratitude
hello,
journal so
hello.
that people can. I'm telling you, oh my God. That's why I had to design the gratitude journal because I know that people need to be grateful. And you're right. Don't worry. I'm here, Naomi. I know that for those of you who are, for those of you who are who live in Nigeria, you know that this is what we deal with. This is so interesting, and it's getting to the interesting part. I'm sure Naomi will come back in. Like she said, gratitude is amazing. It is would your life around, it will shock you. I, I, I designed the gratitude because one of the things that always helped me when I go through the worst times is gratitude. What I do is I start thanking God, remembering everything that He has done for me in the past, all the things that could have gone wrong but went right. And gradually, my mood begins to change. I begin to see my situation differently. I begin to it's been an eye-opening session. Thank you so much, Omoladi. But Naomi is not done, and I'm sure that she's coming back because she was telling us about the six gifts we have, and she stopped at gratitude. I know that the next one is hope, but she hasn't told us the T yet. And I think her light went off, so I'm sure she'll come back on and then finish it up. I had no doubt that this was going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing session. I had no doubt. So I know that gratitude plays an integral role in our lives. It has helped me because there are times I get so depressed or I'm so down and I don't even know where to turn. Maybe I've prayed, I've fasted, I've done everything. And then I decide to turn to gratitude. I just take a walk in the morning and I just start thanking God about things that even happened when I was a child. And gratitude just begins to lift my spirit. And I begin to see things differently. That you know what? God has always been there and everything eventually works out for good, you know? T is. I know she said the H is hope. My audio back on. Okay.
Hi. I'm, I, were you going to say goodbye?
I was holding the fort for you, but thank God you're back. So we stopped at gratitude. Said no, now we have to come back and finish the hope and the tea. I
And
won't.
and that's my gratitude journal. Oh, I absolutely love it. Are you there? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Is the network on? Can anybody hear me? Oh, I think we lost her.
No,
Oh,
I'm
there
here.
you are.
I'm so here. Okay. So, yes, we had gratitude. And I was showing off the gratitude journal I came up with. Yes, and guys, if you want a copy of the gratitude journal, you can get it. It's on Amazon. You can buy a copy on Amazon, or you can hit me up. If you're in Abuja or in Nigeria or something, I can get a copy to you.
All right. I love it. Uh-oh, see? That's echo is back.
No, no, she didn't say the echo is back. She said she can't hear me,
I
but she
can
can
hear
hear
the
you.
echo. I can hear it.
No, but she's saying she can hear you. Okay, I can't hear you.
I muted the microphone.
Okay, so she still can't hear me.
No, we can
Okay,
hear
just
you.
okay. So you go ahead. You go ahead and finish up with the right. She says we can manage. So I'm sure we can manage. And then the Holy Spirit will clear it up. Don't worry, we're fine.
Okay. So the G is gratitude, and then H is hope. I remember when I shared my story for the first time. A lady approached me and she sent a message to Facebook Messenger, and she was saying how she was 35 and she wasn't married and her auntie was taunting her. But listening to my story, or rather reading my story back then, she had hope. I never forgot that girl. I still pray I can find her because it was on Facebook Messenger that she sent that message. 1 year later, I get a message from someone saying I'm getting married. And I'm wondering, who is this? And the moment I scroll up, I realized it was that same girl. For 1 year, she probably held on to the hope that God, who did it for Naomi, is going to do it for me. And so you must realize that you have the gift of hope every time you share your story. And the final one is T,
Yeah.
the gift of time. Time is the currency for destiny.
Wow.
And
Yes,
you've got
time
to
is
realize that every time you share your story, you give us the gift of time. I spent 9 years, I came out alive. Some young girl who's at the verge of making a decision like what I made might listen to this and decide to pause. A single mom who came out of an abusive relationship and has been carrying unforgiveness in her heart can decide to pause and tonight make a decision that she's going to let go and she's going to forgive. I just gave her the gift of time. Recently, I was speaking to someone who is currently like at the verge of, there's some complications around her relationship. And the things I was sharing with her as the incident just happened are things that probably took me 10 years or more to realize. I just gave her the gift of time. She doesn't need to spend the next 5 years, 10 years struggling trying to figure things out. So every time you share your story, you give others the gift of time. Your voice is a bit faint, Joy. You're a bit faint. Oh, I'm struggling to hear you, my darling. Mm, mm, mm,
Seeing my life was
mm,
cool. I love to write, I love to sing, I love to talk, I love to tell stories.
mm, mm.
By the time I wrote my first book and it came out, messages. Oh, your work inspired me. Your work did this for me. Your work did that. And I'm like, your book did this to me. And I'm like,
Mm, mm, you're welcome. You're welcome.
what exactly you want anyone who watches this life to take away from this?
Hmm. This is what I will say to wrap up. The center stage is not for a select few.
Before we go, what is that one thing you want anybody watching this life to take away
Right.
from it?
I got you. The center stage is not for a select few. My life mission is to die empty. I don't want to take anything that God has given me to the grave. I heard my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, say that the richest place in the world is the graveyard because there you have all the would have, could have, should have been. I didn't mention that before his passing, I got to meet him and I was personally mentored by him. And that was such a precious gift, you know. And I feel I'm one of those people who, yeah, yeah, I'm one of those people who I believe his legacy is living through, even though he's no longer here. So my life mission is to die empty, and I say this everywhere.
Sorry, Naomi.
The three
Okay,
P's.
so
I saw
Omalade
that.
asking you to please
The
go
three
over
P's.
the three
Yeah,
P's
I
again.
saw that.
Yes, but when you finish, then you can go over it.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
I would say to anyone watching, the center stage is not for a select few. It has your name all over it. Rise above the odds and truly realize that you just don't have a gift. Tonight, I have presented you with six gifts that you have right now. Be willing to do the work in identifying the cure that you carry so that at the end of your life, you will look back and truly know that the world felt and experienced the gift of you. So that is my final word. And back to the three P's, it's identify your person, what is their pain point, and what is the pleasure that you have to offer.
Identify your pain points. What is, sorry, identify your
Your
people.
person,
What is their pain points and what is the pleasure you have to offer? Simple. Yeah, identify your, and then
yeah.
what is their pain point? What is it that they're dealing with that you connect with or resonate with you? And then what can you what's your pleasure?
Yeah,
What can
what
you do for
solutions do
them
you
or give to
carry?
them to help them? Yeah, to help them through whatever they're dealing with, which is always what your purpose is about, basically. So what Naomi is telling you is find your why. And when you find your why, you're able to tell your story. And not, in fact, by the time you find your why, nobody will tell you, you won't have all those excuses of, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. You don't know what to say and how to say it because you haven't found your why. Naomi, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on this live.
Thank you for
I know
having
that
me,
you're
my
so
darling.
jet lagged and recovering from your trip. So we're going to let you go now. I don't know if Omalade has any questions for you because I know Omalade has followed your life throughout. I don't know if she
She's
has any questions for
amazing.
you. Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sticking with us, even though we're going back and forth. In fact, thank you to everyone who stuck with us because people kept coming
I'm
in and
telling you, like it's past 10.
yeah.
So
Yes, thank you
we've
for
been at this for
sticking
two
here.
hours.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Naomi and Joy. I really needed this. Thank you for the gift of time. Oh my God. Oh, oh my God. This is amazing. And you see, for me, right, I always say, if what I'm doing can impact one person, I believe that I'm grateful for the opportunity. If this life was for Omolade, then I'm good. You understand? If the next life is for somebody else, then I'm good. Because when you're able to give that gift, whichever one of them, to one person, that person is going to pay that gift forward. So for me, impact might be, a million people. It might be 1,000. It might be 100. It might be one person, and the impact might even be more than what you can do for a million people.
That's right.
I feel so fulfilled today. Thank you, Naomi.
I'm glad we
And
did
thank
this.
everyone who tuned in.
And we survived the technological
Oh yes, it had nothing. It had nothing on us. It had nothing on us. So please share the live to anyone you believe needs to hear this story, needs to hear Naomi, needs to understand how to turn their stories to profit, needs to understand what it means to find their why. Because at the end of it, we are here to shine our lights on each other, just like Naomi said. So I think that's what I'm going to say finally. So Naomi, any final words before I let you go? Okay.
I said this earlier,
Thank
I'll
you
say
so
it
much.
again. If you're not being seen and heard, it is as good as you not existing in the first place. So show up and show up boldly on the center stage. Mm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Love
Naomi.
you,
So I'm going to let
girl.
you go now.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you too. Bye.